Namaste everyone, this is Steven from YogaWorks, and today I'll take you through my daily mobility routine. Mobility is our ability to move our joints in the human body through their range of motion, but not just a passive range of motion, an active range of motion is actually what we're looking for, which means we've got control and we've got the choice to move our body in any direction we want as long as our joints allow for that range. And it's really important to do this on a daily basis because our body has a principle of use it or lose it. So if we spend too much sitting and using our cars to transport ourselves around and things like elevators and escalators, we'll find our body is no longer used to move in certain ways. So here we restore that that ability of our joints to move well and without pain and in a bigger range of motion. And then we can use that ability for whatever we decide to. We can do handstands, we can do deep back bends, we can do arm balances, which is then expression of the joint movements that we have cultivated. So join me with this. We're going to start with the neck, a couple of neck, shoulder and spine rolls, and then we'll move on to mostly shoulder, spine and hip work. And if you repeat this every day, I promise you're going to feel amazing and notice some pretty big differences quite soon in, for example, squats or the weight you lift or just the ease that you move around with or play with your kids, for example. It's going to be a big difference. So sit comfortably, you can sit however you want and keep the spine quite long. We're just going to be moving the neck, so try to disassociate this from any other movements. Roll your chin down to your chest and then look over the right shoulder, lower the right ear and circle back. Look over the left shoulder and circle down. So then we're going to do this 2 more times in each direction. A big circle with the neck, but without creating any discomfort. So if you feel a bit of a pinching sensation, then just don't go too far in that direction. After number 3, lift up to center, and then go the other way, chin down, look over to the left, lower your left ear, roll the head back, look over the right shoulder, roll down to center, 2 more rounds. Just explore where is your body happy to go, or where do you feel a bit of resistance, maybe some pinching sensation. We don't want to push into that, but we want to come back to these movements quite often. Sit back upright, and then we're going to be doing rotations with the spine. So imagine the middle of your torso here, around the lower part of the rib cage. Circle it back and then around to the side and then forward and around to the other side. So just do this a few times. Imagine this point making a circle around the hips, just underneath it. And then circle the other way. And just feel the little side bend, the mini back bend, the mini forward bend as you move through this motion. And sit upright. A couple of shoulder rolls. Roll the shoulders back, down, forward and up. Try to make quite a smooth, big circle. And again, feeling where you're at the moment. Maybe one shoulder feels a bit different than the other. Maybe there's one direction where the shoulders are reluctant to go. We'll work on that a little bit later. Change direction, roll the other way. Very big shoulder circle. Just to invite some movement around this delicate joint. And then release that. Now grab a strap, or if you've got a broomstick or a belt or a long towel, all of this will work. And hold it quite wide. And then just a couple of times, lift that strap up, put a bit of tension into it, and lower it down behind you. And If you feel all kinds of neck tension or you have to do some weird movement to get behind you, then it just means you need to hold your strap a bit wider, so slide the hands further apart. And if you feel nothing, then you can grab the hands a little bit closer to each other. I like to just do a few rounds with the hands quite wide, and maybe at the end we can shorten the distance a bit, but not all these movements have to be super intense. So maybe grab a tiny bit closer with the hands and see how that goes. Try to keep the spine neutral. If your body compensates, maybe the head goes forward, the shoulders lift up, then that's a sign that you're probably going a bit too far. Last one. And then place the strap off to the side. Now we'll move our attention to the hips, and to do that, come into this stance where the feet are just more than hip width apart, and then the left foot is close to my right knee. And then I'm going to place my hands behind me, lift the knees up, but keep the feet exactly in the same position, and lower the knees to the right. So do that a few times, keep the feet stable, but let the knees windscreen wipe from side to side. And actually what we're doing is we're rotating the femur, your thigh bone, inside the hip socket in different directions. So we've got internal rotation in the one leg, external rotation the other leg. It's a really good simple movement you can do to quickly warm up the hips. You can make it more intense if you want to by pressing your hands behind you, coming through a squat and then coming down. Maybe you just need one hand coming through the squat and down, or you could stay with the just simple knee windscreen wipe if the squat is a bit too intense. Takes a bit of practice. I've also seen people doing this without using their hands, but for where I'm at, that's not quite possible right now. Maybe someday. And then next time your knees go to the left, keep them there, and now lift your back leg off the mat, swing it forward and place it over that knee, and then just lean a little bit forward. Try not to use your hands. Reach back, place your foot back in the original position. Lift your knees, windscreen wipe to the second side. Left leg lifts, foot steps over your knee and lean down. Of course, if you need your hands to make this possible, then you can just support yourself. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe the left hand out to the side, right leg swings around, bend forward, lift back up. Back to the windscreen wipers, lift up, swap, maybe no hands if it's available. Let's do one more side, one more time to each side. Sweep the right leg over, bend forward. Right leg, place it back. Sweep the left leg around, place it over the knee, lean down. And come back, knees to the left. We'll add something else. So now with the knees to the left, I'm just going to lift up and push the hips a little bit forward. And then slowly, slowly, slowly lower down. Take the knees to the other side and do the same thing. Lift all the way up onto that front shin. Push the hips a little bit forward. And then sit the hips back. So we're slowing down, which is strengthening the glutes. Lift up, lower down. Swap the legs, lift up, lower down. Once more each side, and we'll add one more thing to our little mobility flow here. Lower down, last side, lift up, lower down. Now come back to the first side, we'll start the same, lift up, but now this time take your back leg a bit of balancing work. Step it wide out and then soften the hips forward and down, which is really nice inner thigh, the adductor stretch. And now we're going to come back, try to slow it down, sweep your leg behind you. Oops. If you need to use your hands, of course, that's okay. Legs swap over to the second side. Bridge up. Take your left leg, the back leg, step it wide and sink down with the hips. And now with control, let's try. Place the knee down, turn over to the left, lift up, step wide, get into it, move back. Of course, if you need your hands, do that. But you'll feel, as you do this more often, you'll get a sense of more control and stability. We're doing one more on each side. The right foot steps out, getting to those inner thighs. Last one. Left foot steps out and release. Nice. Take a moment to just simple windscreen wipe as a little in-between pose. We did some great work for all the muscles around the hips, the full circumference, the front, the back, the inside, the outside. Nice. So we're going to come into boat pose, not for very long. We're going to be moving in and out. So boat pose looks like this. I'm lifting the shins parallel to the mat, lifting the chest up, shoulders back. If you need some extra help, hold the backs of the thighs. Otherwise, reach your hands forward. Now cross the right shin in front of the left and fold forward. Lift up into boat. Cross the left shin in front of the right. Fold forward and lift up. So that's a little flow. Really simple. Right shin in front and lift. Left shin in front and lift. One more time each side, right shin in front. Fold forward so you're reaching forward but keeping the hips back. And lift. Left shin in front, reach forward, keep the hips heavy and lift up. Now we'll change it up. Bring your left heel underneath the right hip. The right foot, step it over and lean forward again. If you need your hands to do that, no problem. Come back to boat. Take your right heel under left hip, left foot over the knee and fold forward and lift up. So this is a good example of active range of motion is when you can do this without using your hands. Passive range of motion means you can do it, but you have to help with the other hand and pull that leg under and then swing the other leg around. That's passive. The other one is active. So try to do as much active range of motion as possible. So we'll do one more on each side. Left heel under right buttock, right foot over and lean forward. Boat pose one last time. Right heel under, left leg steps over, lean, and boat pose to down dog. So our next little flow is using a couple of yoga poses. Otherwise it's not a typical yoga session, but a lot of yoga poses are great for mobility work as well. So they often come back in different disciplines. So all we're going to do is keep the toes tucked under, round the back to come forward to plank, and then just keep going and soften the hips down while we're still on the toes. So it's like up dog but with the toes tucked under. And then chin to chest, and I'm rounding back, like a spinal roll back to down dog. Start from the tailbone, round, 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 forward. Lower the hips down, lift the gaze forward. You don't need to lift up. And chin to chest, round your upper back, middle back, lower back. Back to down dog, long spine. round from the lower back, middle, upper back, and then into your spinal extension, the back bend, chin to chest, push back to down dog. 2 more. Meditate on the movements of your spine. On each segment moving in tune with the segments before and after, and with the whole movement of the spine. The last one, modified up dog on the toes, chin to chest, 2 downward facing dog. And then step your right foot forward from here. Lower the left knee down, place both hands on the front knee. And then just a couple of times we're lifting the back leg while squeezing the back buttocks, and then lower it down really softly. Keep squeezing left glute and lift. Keep squeezing left glute, slowly lower down. Squeeze the left glute a lot. Lift. How slowly can you lower down? You might be shaking a little bit. I know I am. 2 more. Lift. Really squeeze the left glute. And lower. And then the last one. Lift. And lower. Well done. Now place the right foot a bit wider to the edge of the mat. Left hand to the left side of the mat. So now try to mimic a squat with that right leg. So we're in hip flexion, knee flexion. That knee can go a little bit over to the outside of the ankle, but don't lift the inside of the foot. And then just really gently use your hand to move your knee right and left, but keep the foot grounded at all times. So even if it's a tiny movement, a centimeter, without moving the foot, then stay there, don't push further. So we're teaching that thigh bone to rotate in the hip socket. And now a more active version with your right hand or forearm. Push inside that thigh and squeeze your knee in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. With your right hand, push the outside of the knee. Push your knee out into the hand for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Now we're going to need a little space forward. Watch, there's a gate here between your front foot and the left hand. We're going to pass that left foot through and stretch it to the front. If it's really heavy, then you could just lower down for a moment, or if you can, keep it up. So we'll do 5 of these. That was 1. Reach left leg forward. 2, 3, 2 more. Kick forward and back. Last one. Boom. And step back. Downward facing dog. Well done. And step the left foot forward. Lower the back knee down, both hands onto that front knee. So you know where we're going? Back toes tuck under. Slowly press the foot into the mat to lift that knee off the mat. Straighten that leg and lower it back down. Now squeeze the right glute a lot. Maybe check, poke yourself. It's allowed. And just to check if that glute is switched on. It should be firing up a lot. Squeeze the right glute, lift the knee. Squeeze the right glute as you lower the knee slowly. 2 more, just because we can. Squeeze. And lower. Last one. Squeeze. And lower. Sure, this side is a lot harder for me. I don't know about you. Wiggle the left foot out to the side. Right hand to the right side of the mat. And like we've done before, this is like in a squat. That left knee, move it in. and move it out without lifting the inside or the outside of your left foot. So just watch that foot, keep it grounded. It's going to move a little bit, but we don't want it to lift to get more movement. And now the more active one, left hand or forearm inside left knee. I'm going to be pushing the knee in really strongly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Hand outside your knee. Push out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Now we've got our corridor here. We're going to be kicking through. Remember that right leg forward. Place it down if you need to, or keep it lifted if you can. That's 1. Kick through. Boom. And step back. 3 more. Keep going. 2 more. Just feel how your body moves as one strong and mobile unit. Are we done? I don't know. I'll do 1 more just in case I forgot one. Nice. Lower the knees down. Sit all the way up onto your knees. I like to tuck the toes under actually for this one. And then repress the knees down and squeeze the glutes, squeeze the abs a little bit. So your core and the glutes. Place hands on the front of your shoulders. All we're going to do is keep a lot of tension in our core and lean back a bit. And lift back up. Again, lean back and lift up. Really great for, it's called eccentric contraction in the quads. So they're lengthening, but they need to work as well to prevent us from falling all the way back. Just go as far as you need to feel that length in the quads, but a feeling of control as well. 2 more. Strong belly, lean back. And lift up. Last one. Lean back. And lift up. Good. Next one is place your feet wide. And then just bend your left knee. You can place your hands on the mat and lift the right toes up. In yoga, we call this the surfer's lunge or the skandasana. And then right toes come down, shift to your right, squat inside the right knee, lift the left toes up. And then try to stay low as you can, shifting over to the first side. Maybe you can raise the hands, shifting over to the second side. To the left, lift the right toes. To the right, lift the left toes. 1 more time to each side. Shift to the left, right toes up. Shift to the right, left toes up. And then come to standing. And turn sideways so you can see it better. Place your hands on the hips. Feet hip distance. All we're going to do is lean forward with the chest, like a flat back in yoga, until you feel a good stretch in the hamstrings, and then really slowly come back up. Sometimes called a good morning by movement coaches. Lean forward and lift up. 1 more like this. Lean forward and lift up. Now place your right foot a little bit behind you. You're going to stay in the toes. This is just for our balance. It's all about the left leg, the left hamstring here. We're going to do the same, but with less support from the right leg. Lean forward. Stop at any time, even if you go a tiny bit, and lift up. 2 more. Lean forward, long spine. And lift up. 1 more. Good morning. You might be doing this in the afternoon, doesn't matter. Step your right foot down, left foot a little bit behind you, stay on the toes. This is just for your balance. And then lean forward, the right hip lifts up and lift from the back muscles and the hamstrings. Lean forward and go up. You can feel the side is a bit tighter. And the first one, good to know. And then lift back up. Good, that was our hip sequence. We'll do a little bit more shoulder and spine work. So sit with your feet in front of you and place your right hand behind you. I like the fingers more or less pointing back behind me. All we're gonna do is left hand's gonna reach forward and bridge up and come back down. Bridge up, push the right hand and the feet down and lower. A few more times. Feel the space in the chest and the belly, the upper back. Lower down. Got two more. Bridge up, push and reach. Lower down. Last one. Lift, expand, and lower down. Good, second side, left hand behind you. Right hand's gonna reach up. And you can even follow the right hand with your gaze, that feels good. Lower. Do 5 in total. Bridge up, lift the hips, and lower down. Doesn't matter how far you go. If you repeat this regularly, you'll see amazing differences over time. 2 more. Bridge up and lower. And the last one, go for it. And lower, back, down. Nice. Come with the left leg parallel to the short edge of the mat. The right leg, it's called 90-90 because it's 90 degrees in the front knee, 90 degrees in the back knee. And I like to use the edges of the yoga mat to have a visual aid to get this correctly aligned. It's not a very easy pose to align, although it looks simple. And I'll walk the hands a little bit forward, but not too far. And press that left hip down. Press it down. And then ever so slightly, instead of rounding the back, I'm going to arch the lower back. So lifting the tailbone up behind me. That definitely increased the stretch in the outer hip there. And then push that left hip and knee down and pull the left hip a little bit back behind you. And then one more thing, take your chest and go a bit more over the middle of your front shin. I'm lengthening more forward. I'm not so worried about going down. So lift the tailbone, press the left hip back and lengthen the chest over the middle of that front shin. If you do those 3 things, should be a really great outer hip stretch on the left. And then lift back up. Keep the legs the same, but now I'm rotating over that right leg, the trail leg. You could stay here with the hands, or if you've got space, you can hold on to that shin in the outer hip. And now what I'm doing here is I'm softening that right hip down. I've got a little bit of space here. Some people don't. It's okay. I'm softening that down. And I'm rotating the chest over towards the back leg. If your left knee lifts a little bit here, that's okay. So now we're working internal rotation in the back leg here, before we're working external rotation in the front leg. Another moment, soften the breath. Release the hands. Let's take it over to the other side. The easiest way to shift to the other side is just to windscreen wipe the knees to the other side, and more or less you should be in the right position to get going straight away. But if you're not, take a moment to adjust. Walking the hands a little bit forward, but not too much. You don't want to be all the way here. And then let's work on the mobility. Mobility is hard work. You put in the work, you do activations, And then you get back active results. If you only do passive stretches, you only get passive results. That's how the body works. Press that right knee down. Pull your right hip back and out to the side. And then instead of rounding the back, arch your lower back. So the belly can even hang out towards that right thigh here, that's fine. And I'm lifting the tailbone behind me, and then finally I'm lengthening the chest a little bit forward and a bit over that the right shin in the middle there. Then just check in again, 3 activations. Chest is lengthening. Right hip is pushing down and back. And the lower back is extending. So I'm arching my lower back. Good, lift back up, well done. And I'm going to turn over that back leg again. You can support with the hands. If it's really hard, then you might even be leaning back a bit. That's okay if that's you. And I like to hold on, to strap on with the hands. And here I'm doing 2 things. I'm allowing that left hip to feel heavy down towards the mat. And I'm turning the chest towards that back leg, even a little side bend to the side, that's good. Another moment or so, if the breath is calm, you're also sending a message to your body that this is a good position to be in. There's no danger or emergencies happening, which cause the body to close down, of course. And then slowly release. Maybe windscreen wipe a couple of times just to feel the after effects. And then last a little resting pose at the end of our daily mobility routine. Just reach your hands forward, press your hands down, and then start to soften the head and the chest down towards the mat. This one is our first and only more passive stretch. We could activate it as well, but let's use this to restore at the end of the session. Take a moment of introspection, a restful quality, and a sense of gratitude for all these amazing things our body is designed to do. And through this mobility work, we learn to make the most of it, to use what we have been given, and to create a sense of comfort and joy when we move, rather than aches and pain. And then slowly release. Come to a seat. Place your hands together, touch your forehead, your heart. Bow to yourself on the mat. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing. Keep up the great work and see you soon.